G'day investors, Michael Beresford here from OpenCorp for today's Property Wealth WOD. Super excited about today. I'm going to let you into a little secret that most people don't know about when it comes to investing, but it's a fantastic way to make money with basically very little out of your pocket to be able to achieve that growth. What I'm talking about are house and land investments that have a long registration period. Okay, so for those of you that aren't aware what that means, basically in a moving market, then developers will want to take advantage of the increased market demand and the increased sales rate. So they will actually sell lots basically off the plan and then play catch-up work on doing the development. So it may be 6 or in some cases 12 months until they've finished that development work and the individual blocks of land have their titles registered, which is at the point where you can actually settle on the land as a buyer. Okay, so what we're talking about, let's say that I sign a contract today, and let's say that there is a 10-month period until I can actually settle on my land. Okay, now once the point where land settlement occurs, then this point here is when the actual house, where the house and land investment can be built. Okay, and that period, it might take 8 months, start to finish as well. And then we obviously got our tenants in there, and this is when the rental income starts to come in. Okay, so the variable part of this process is when land settlement can occur. If the titles are already registered, then it will happen very quickly after signing the contract and finance approval. But this time frame can be extended out. And as a strategic investor, this is actually something that I love, and I'll tell you why. Why I love it is because if I sign a contract today, then typically I'm going to be paying absolute maximum, a 10% deposit on the land. So if this is a $300,000 block of land, then my deposit is going to be 30K. Okay? Now, that's all I'm paying over this 10-month period until the point where I actually settle on the land. Now, I'm going to give you an actual example here. We've done this with some of our clients, our investors, and it's been common in Melbourne that in a couple of particular areas where we've had lots on long registration, that they've made between $50,000 and $95,000 in growth between when they signed to when the land actually settled. The reason why that's important, guys, is what I'm saying here. If you're borrowing this deposit from equity, let's say that you have a 5% interest rate, then it's costing you $1,500 for the year in interest. So if you could pay $1,500, okay, but you could make $50,000 to $95,000 in this case in growth, then that's a really smart strategy. Okay, so it's not exactly growth for free, but it's pretty close. Okay, the important thing to remember here, right, is that when you have a block on long settlement, what you're doing is you're actually acquiring the growth part of the property, being the land, at today's price here. And provided you have a fully fixed price contract in place, then any upside over this time frame to when you get a tenant is money in your pocket or equity in your pocket. Okay, so a common mistake that investors make is they think that the investment starts working for them when they get rental income. With a cash flow focused investment, that's pretty true. But we're capital growth investors, and so what this does is it gives us some equity before we've even had to settle and pay the balance of the deposit and costs. Okay, and then it's continuing to grow for us while the house is being built. So in an ideal scenario, not going to happen every time, but in an ideal scenario, once the house is finished and you have a tenant, we get a revaluation on the property, enough equity has been created there that we can borrow that for the deposit and costs for our next investment property. Okay, so there's a quick recap, guys, on long registration land, why it makes a lot of sense. You're getting growth without having to pay for it, and the investment is working from day one as opposed to when you have a tenant. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.